All right, welcome to NFL Nexus. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to be time traveling to the year 2026 to take a look at a situation that is absolutely critical for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're facing what you can only call a franchise-defining offseason. Literally every single choice they're about to make, from who they pick in the draft to who they sign in free agency, it all carries the weight of the next decade. This isn't just about getting ready for one season. No. This is about forging the entire identity of this team for years and years to come. And that brings us right to the ultimate dilemma, the one question that probably keeps general managers staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. Do you rebuild or do you reload? Do you tear it all down to the studs and patiently build a long-term contender? Or do you push all your chips into the middle of the table for a shot at glory right now? These are two completely different philosophies, and believe me, the path the Steelers choose is going to have ripple effects for a very, very long time. So let's set the scene. It's 2026, and the new head coach in town is Mike McCarthy. Now, he's stepping into one of the most stable, most storied franchises in all of sports. I mean, this is a team that's had only 3 head coaches since 1969. You might think that kind of stability lowers the pressure, but oh no, it does the exact opposite. It cranks it up to 11. He's facing this monumental moment right out of the gate, where his very first big offseason is going to define his entire legacy in Pittsburgh. And look, we are not just talking about patching up a couple of weak spots here. This is a full-blown crisis at cornerstone positions. They need a quarterback, right? The engine of the whole team. They need a legit number 1 wide receiver. They need a franchise left tackle to protect the blind side. And the entire secondary is a huge question mark, needing high-level starters at both corner and safety. These aren't just minor tweaks. This is a roster that is screaming for a new identity. But, and this is a huge but, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Despite all those massive needs, the Steelers are sitting on the one asset that every other team in the league is jealous of, a treasure trove of draft picks. And that capital, it changes everything. It is the ultimate currency in the NFL. It gives them the flexibility, the power to be aggressive, to maybe even control the draft board and dictate their own future instead of just sitting back and hoping for the best. Okay, so that leads us to Path A. Let's call this the go big or go home strategy. The idea is simple, but man, is it bold. You package up some of those valuable draft picks, you get on the phone, and you move up the board to snag a truly elite, non-quarterback talent. We're talking about a guy who can be a foundational piece, a team captain, a perennial Pro Bowler for the next 10 years. First up on the big board for this kind of move, a guy by the name of Mansour Delane, a shutdown corner out of LSU. Pittsburgh is desperate for a bookend to pair with the star they already have in Joey Porter Jr. The goal isn't just to find another decent starter. The goal is to create a legitimate no-fly zone, a lockdown tandem that can just erase an opponent's top 2 receivers and let that defensive front just eat. And this right here, this number is exactly why teams are drooling over him. 8 career interceptions. That just screams ball hawk. In today's pass-happy league, it's not enough to have guys who just prevent catches. You need defenders who create turnovers, guys who can flip the momentum of a game in a single play. I mean, think about the great Steelers defenses of the past. They were built on those splash plays. Adding a guy who actively takes the football away, that's not a luxury. It's an absolute necessity. So what makes Delane so special? It's this rare blend of traits. That phrase, absurdly physical but controlled, that's the whole key. You see so many young physical corners get into the league and they just become penalty flags waiting to happen, right? Delane, though, he knows how to use that physicality to reroute receivers at the line of scrimmage without constantly drawing laundry. You combine that with his ball skills, and you've got a guy projected to go somewhere in that 9 to 15 range, which means if the Steelers want him, they are absolutely going to have to trade up to get their guy. Okay, now if Delane is a fantastic option, this next guy, Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State, he might be on another planet entirely. The buzz around Downs isn't just that he's a great player. It's that he's a transcendent, game-altering talent. In the mold of an Ed Reed or, for Steelers fans, a Troy Polamalu. He's the kind of player you can build your entire defense around for a decade. And a lot of scouts already think he's the next great all-pro safety. And look, don't just take my word for it. Just read this quote. This isn't just some media hype. When seasoned scouts, the guys who do this for a living, start saying a player might just be the best player overall in an entire draft class, not the best safety, the best player, period, you have to sit up and listen. That is the highest possible praise a prospect can get, and it just tells you how special this kid is. And his skill set shows you exactly why. The guy had literally no holes in his game. He's a monster in run support, flying downhill like an extra linebacker. He can patrol the deep middle of the field, taking away those explosive plays over the top. And he's got the athletic ability to cover tight ends and slot guys in man coverage. He's not just a safety, he's a defensive chess piece you can move all over the field. The only problem? He's a potential top 5 pick. Getting him would take a massive franchise-altering trade. But for a player this good, it might just be worth it. All right, let's switch gears. What if the Steelers decide the defense can wait and they need to get a weapon on offense? Well, meet our third prospect, Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson. Now, the Steelers have a good veteran in DK Metcalf, but they're missing that long-term true alpha #1 receiver, the kind of guy who commands double teams and just changes the entire defense's game plan. Tyson is seen by many as the answer, a dominant, do-it-all receiver who could be the focal point of their passing attack for years. And again, the scouts are all over this one. They're calling him a strong bet to be a #1 receiver in the NFL. Now, let's talk about that language for a sec. In scouting speak, potential is one thing. A strong bet? That's a whole different level of confidence. It means they see him as having a really high floor and a high ceiling, which is exactly the kind of sure thing you're looking for if you're going to trade up to fill a massive hole on your roster. Okay, so that's path A. A really solid plan, right? Trade up, get a blue chip guy, build around him. But now we got to talk about the elephant in the room, the position that changes everything, the quarterback. This brings us to path B. And it's the true conundrum. It's the decision that will define Mike McCarthy's tenure. Does he try to win a Super Bowl now, or does he patiently build for the future? And this slide right here, this lays it all out. It's the ultimate fork in the road. On one side, you've got the veteran play, Aaron Rodgers. It's an all-in, win-now move. You bring in a first-ballot Hall of Famer who gives you instant credibility, attracts other free agents, and makes you a title contender overnight. The catch? Your Super Bowl window is probably just 1 or 2 seasons. On the other side is the developmental bet, Malik Willis. This is a long-term play on raw, untapped potential, but it comes with huge risks and absolutely zero guarantees. This is the choice McCarthy has to make. And this quote, this one right here from Emery Hunt at CBS Sports, this might be the single most important piece of the puzzle for the Malik Willis argument. The idea that McCarthy sees Willis as a new version of Dak Prescott isn't just some throwaway line. It's a direct link to McCarthy's greatest success story as a head coach. It gives us a clear, proven blueprint for how Willis could actually thrive in Pittsburgh under his coaching. So what does that even mean, the Dak Prescott template? Well, it's actually pretty brilliant coaching philosophy. See, a lot of coaches fail because they take an athletic quarterback and try to force him to be a pure pocket passer from day one. McCarthy's approach is the exact opposite. You lean into what makes them special, their mobility, their knack for extending plays, and you build the offense around that early on. Then, piece by piece, season by season, you work on refining their pocket presence and decision-making. It's a blueprint that's already worked. And this is exactly why Willis is such a fascinating fit for this plan. He has that game-breaking running ability that made Dak so dangerous early in his career. Crucially, he's also shown real growth as a passer, so he's not just an athlete playing quarterback. His legs naturally turn sacks into first downs, which just demoralizes a defense. It all just aligns perfectly with what McCarthy has done before. So choosing Willis isn't just a bet on a player, it's a bet on a proven process. So when you zoom out and look at the big picture, you realize this is about so much more than just one off-season. This is it. This is the moment that's going to define the entire Mike McCarthy era in Pittsburgh. Everything we've talked about, the draft prospects, the veteran QB, the young prospect, it all comes down to one monumental decision that will set the course for this franchise for the next decade. It really boils down to this. One choice between 2 totally different visions for the future. Option 1 is reload now. Go get Aaron Rodgers, push all your chips in, and go all out for a Super Bowl. Option 2 is build for the future. You invest in a young quarterback like Malik Willis, or use that draft capital on a cornerstone player you can build around for the next 10 years. Whew. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here, from elite prospects to a franchise-altering QB decision. If you got something out of this deep dive, if you enjoyed this little trip to 2026, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button for NFL Nexus. And of course, hit that like button. It really does help the channel out. And now, I really want to hear from you. What would you do? Drop your entire off-season plan for the Steelers down in the comments below. And hey, one last thing. For any of you who want to go the extra mile to support what we do here, we actually made some football-themed coloring books. They're great for kids, grandkids. Honestly, they're pretty relaxing for adults, too. You can find the link for those right in the description, or just scan the QR code on your screen now. Your support truly means the world and lets us keep making these deep dives. And that leaves us right back where we started with that one massive question, the future of a legendary franchise hanging in the balance. Do you reload with a veteran for a shot at glory right now? Or do you rebuild with young talent for a shot at sustained success down the road? Which path should the Pittsburgh Steelers choose to define their future? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.